Alright guys, welcome back. We have another video continuing our network series. We're going to be talking about Ethernet cables, and we're going to start off here first with one of the oldest kind, which is category 3. And this is from when basically Ethernet just first started. Before we had Ethernet, we had our POTS line, which was basically our telephone line. We had another thing called coaxial, where we would have one coaxial cable and then they would split off into other computers, and really only one computer could talk at the same time. So this is basically just an evolution of our network. We can go back and visit those older ones if you'd like, but let's just say they are no longer used. And if they are, they're in very niche applications or very specialty applications. So Cat 3, we have the highest speed we can go is 10 megabits per second. So the bandwidth is 16 megahertz. Basically, the higher the bandwidth, the more information we can carry. The more information we can carry, the faster we can go. So we have Cat 5, which is the predecessor to Cat 5e. You can think of Cat 5 as the OG version of Category 5. And we have, it is backwards compatible to the older stuff. So we have 10, we can do 100 megabits per second, and we can go as high as 1,000 megabits per second. And we have 100 megahertz to accompany that ability to carry more information. So then Cat 5e, think of it kind of as a revision, like a step up. If you were in aviation, airplanes usually, have like the F-15, there's the F-15A, F-15B, F-15C, MiG-21, BIS, all that, basically it's the same thing. It's just a later revision, improvements are made, and all that sort of jazz. So as you see, the 100 megahertz is retained. So this is the bare minimum that I would install. I normally actually install a category 6 because the price difference is negligible, and you might as well get the benefits of category 6. So the only time I'll differ from that is if you request it. So, or if part of my, evaluation and consultation, I see, hey, you're going to need a whole lot more speed than that, then I may give you, S6A or S7, or we may just not even use Ethernet and use some another type of cable entirely, like maybe optical or wireless, again, depending on the situation. Every case is different. But then we have category 6, which is also gigabit capable, 1,000 megabits per second. It's actually faster. So we have UDP, UTP, and STP up here. So what that basically means is the UTP means the unshielded twisted pair, and then STP means shielded twisted pair. So as the higher the megahertz go, you start to need that shielding, as you see here, Cat 6A at 500 megahertz, because any outside interference will cause disruptions. It'll cause, crosstalk between the wires inside. You may get interference from the outside. So at this point, especially when we're dealing with 10,000 megabits per second, as you see here, you need the shielding to make sure that what you're sending is what the other end is going to receive. So Cat 6A, we now have 10,000 megabits per second, which is more or less 10 gigabits per second. Pretty fast stuff. You use these kind of cables, 6A and 7, when you're transferring, between computers. So you may not have a computer connected to the network, but you have two computers connected to each other, and they're being used as a file transfer system or a network area storage or a NAS. Or you could be, a corporation or a studio where you're sending huge amounts of files. The files are massive. You're exporting videos. You're sending videos, unprocessed or processed, edited videos from one device to another to be further processed or edited. That's when you usually have something like this. And then sometimes even then, there's specialty cables that are made just for that kind of application. So like I said, this is another short video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you all in the next one, and I hope you all learned something.